Shabbat Shalom. We are now getting and approaching to this special time, so Yom Teruah, Rosh Hashanah for us, and Yom HaKippurim and Sukkot. And this special festival is a festival in which we need to do a research, we need to do a search within ourselves and to try to make things in the best way that we can and to make it right. This portion, this parasha, called Tetze, basically, you could say when you go out, and this is very interesting, the title itself of this parasha, because what are here in this parasha, you are going to have 74 regulations, mitzvot. According to our Savior, we have 613, and from the 613, 74 are in this parasha, a little bit more than 10%. And this also, that's going to give you an idea how important could be this portion if we look at it from the perspective of what is instruction they want to give it to us and not to be literalist. I call it that when we are literalists, we lose the principles, the function and the teachings of the Creator and that we can apply today for us. When we go out, what I mean here? Let me put it in this way in order that you can more or less catch this perspective. Most of us, we're people that we can be secret agents. What I call it when we are secret agents, we have what I call it a secret life. We hide it, we act it, and this is only ourselves. Nobody else knows how do we live or what do we do, and this is our private life. Here, the Creator is going to talk to you is how you act outside of your private life. How you're going to deal with different issues outside your life. And how you take care of the less, most vulnerable, the less capable, and how you need to deal with in different areas, in loan money, treating the poor. Also, for example, how do you treat animals? And there is another area. Even how you dress, in public, how you act. And there is a very clear instruction. This is one of the passages that many people do not like to deal with it in many issues, especially at this time in which we are totally concerned more about to be political correct, to be sociological correct, or to be theological correct. And we are afraid to speak out what the Torah teaches. There is one. First of all, look at this, what is just happening in the world. I don't know if you have been reading in the news what happened with these ISIS, these rebels or terrorists, or depend how to, or dedicated to their gods. Whatever you wanted to describe these people. What they do, they were invading or they were attacking places that they were not very well defended. They will take their women who they were not the same line or the same religion that they were, and they will use them as slaves. They even they will abuse these women, they rape these women, and then they will even sell these women. And there is still, we have in Africa and we have in the Middle East that is happening. No protection at all to the woman. And look at what the Creator is telling to Israel. When you go to war and you beat your enemy, you have beaten your, and you find a girl that you like it, you have put your eyes. Maybe we can say you lust over her, you really like it. Not because of that, you have the right to abuse it. You need to respect it. You wanted her as your wife, First of all, you need to bring her home. You need to let her there to pass a time of mourning. And after that, you can cohabitate with her. But you cannot treat her as a slave. You cannot treat her as a less person. You need to treat her as a woman like you treat a woman in your own place. Look at how different is the Torah to what we see today. You know, if you are familiar with the Second World War, you're going to see that at the time, you know, there were a lot of horrible things that happened to other Jewish people. The Shoah, the Holocaust was terrible. But those who came to liberate from the Germans, the Soviets, they came and they started invading, recovering country. And you know what the men they did? They start raping the women, abusing. What kind of liberators there were there? This is why it's so bad when you do not have Torah. The world without Torah is a barbaric world. And Torah is trying to bring humanity to do what is right. Then how do you behave in public? That will be my talk today. You know, I have seen, sorry to tell you, but I have seen circumstances. People who are very, very religious, that supposedly they are almost obnoxious to the treatment of their forms and their way that they do things. You know, they are so fanatic that they wouldn't make contact with somebody who knows their group. And if they are touched by somebody who knows their group, they need to wash themselves. They are like the untouchables. These are the people who supposedly they are enlightening and they are so close to the Creator that they are illuminating the world. But try to talk to these people. And you see how they talk to you. And they see how they treat those who are not of them. And the Torah, the first thing they're teaching you is, don't treat your enemies bad. Totally the contrary. Treat them humanly. What a word. But now, let's don't go that far. Let's talk among ourselves. You know, I as a rabbi, I have had many times circumstances in which I have had difficult time with certain people. And I can tell you that my most difficult times, believe me or not, has been with religious people. With the people that have had more problems, has received more hate. Hatred. That what I call it sinat hinam has been from religious people. Holier than thou. Whichever side they were. Because I did not follow their way of thinking. Or that did not follow their understanding, the theological understanding, the dogmas, or their forms. I didn't follow their traditions. I didn't follow because they say one thing and I would say something contrary to what they believe. They were trying to kill me, literally. You know, I was taken to a group that they judged me. And they insulted me. And these were men of God. Why? Because I did not believe the way that they believe. I I can tell you the names of these people, but it's not for today. I have been in an organization that they were all goody-goody. But when you went inside the organization, you saw the reality of who they really were. One thing is what they tell you, another thing is how they live. The Creator, what is asking us is, who you are inside, you need to be the same way outside. What you see, what you get. Only one face. You know, how many times I have told people, you know, don't worry, I have my temper. And sometimes you need to forgive me for my temper. And when my temper comes out, I am responsible for that temper, and I need to make it right. I cannot blame you for making me lose my temper. I believe they have the right to blame others. I won't mention names because then also we get in trouble. But this is what the parasha of this week is going to bring to us. When you go out, you need to be the same person that you are when you are in. And doesn't mean that you are only good with the people that you like it. You need to be good with everybody. Of course that you need to differentiate right from wrong. Of course that you need to differentiate what is good and what is bad. No? When you find a person that is bad, what do? You need to go. Sometimes confrontation doesn't bring you anything. But at least you are clear that your values are not like the values of the other. You have a higher level of values. Here, look at the process that is here in the scripture. First of all, goes to the less capable, the most vulnerable. Then going to go after the woman that is taken prisoner and then is married, and if he doesn't like it anymore, he cannot throw her out like something that is not worthy of. Totally the contrary. He needs to treat her as a woman that he has divorced, her giving the get. Later on, here we talks about when the man sends the woman away, made the Shear. You know, in the Hebrew language, the word divorce doesn't exist. The word is to send her out, to return her back to wherever she came from. You know, I get rid of her. No, that's the Shear. And you will be surprised about what a dear Savior would say about that. Times have changed. And now, we are dealing with situations, even in the Jewish religion, you know, about the problems of the women that are not giving the get. And that is really something that's obnoxious. And that needs to be being clear and clean out from the religious settings. The so-called Yahuna, the woman that has been divorced but is not divorced and cannot remarry because the husband cannot give them the rights, because they don't want to pay for what it is. The Torah talks about that. And if we follow Torah, we need to speak out against those things, those injustice. We cannot keep our ourselves silent. If we keep ourselves silent, I had mentioned that before, we are part of the problem. There is a portion here, they say, first of all, you have the captive, and then comes the man that has two wives. One is beloved, and the other is not like it. But the first one had the firstborn. And he is the one that deserves the double inheritance. And not because he loves more the other one, it's going to change the situation. To make the sins righteous, to make the sins right. To take care. And here we need to understand in this way. Because today doesn't happen, the situation in the center. Today we need to understand in this way that always you need to protect the one that is less likable. You don't only protect the one that you like. You need to be just with everybody, the same. Then comes what is called the Sorer Umore, the son, what do we say, the rebellious son, no? The Sorer Umore is the one that is going to tell us the story about a child, a son of a home, who is rebellious and has done everything wrong. And the parents cannot take care of him anymore. And what they want to do, they are going to take it directly to the elders. And the elders are going to decide it, and if this child has done so much wrong, he will be killed. In the Talmud, all our sages, they tell us that this never happened, and this is only an illustration. And I don't have any problem to understand in that way. But what we can learn from that illustration? You know, it's easy to blame the child. But we need to learn that if a child is treated, is taught, and is guided since birth by their parents, the child is going to grow up with that kind of understanding. But if in their home there is no any discipline, there is no any teaching to the children, and they can do whatever they want to do no matter what, who are you going to complain? Are the parents. How many times I have told you in Mishlei, in Proverbs, how they say, you know, if you really love your child, you correct your child, you know? Because if you do not give it, I learned this, it's very interesting in the Hebrew, that doesn't say that you don't like it, it means that you hate your child. You don't correct it. How many parents are so lenient, you can say, that now they don't dare to correct their children? Today we live in a situation that everything is called abuse. You know, a parent can no any longer correct the child. And worse is in the school. The teachers, they don't have right to do anything to the children. And the children grow up with more power than their teachers and their parents. We are upside down. And again, the problem is the lack of Torah. And we have given ourselves to the new ways, thinking that we are so advanced, that now we are not like 4,000 years ago, and now we are very advanced. What they do not understand is that the basic principle of the Torah they don't have time. They're timeless. Because there are principles about behavior and doing what is right. Of course that we cannot be literal in the application, but we need to understand the principle behind everything. What are we trying to learn from it? After this, the rebel song, you know, another thing is when somebody's killed, you know, even the most hideous person, you need to have reverence, respect over the human body, and you need to also have respect for humanity. You know, the way the society treated the least, that's the value of the society. And we need to treat everybody with dignity. Not because he is less than me, or less educated than me, or doesn't have the same status than me, is not any longer a human being. Totally the contrary. We are obligated to treat better those who are lower than us. And that is the case of the slaves. You know, there is a saying in the Jewish understanding, you got a slave, you got a boss. Because you need to treat him so well that he overpowered you. I don't know if you're looking the line, how it is. For example, you know, if you find something, it's not yours. It's your obligation to try to find the owner. And if you don't find the owner, you are responsible for that thing that you find to be okay. And sometimes to find something is not the best thing. At that time, if you find an animal and you keep it, you need it not only treating the animal very well, but trying to find the owner and give it the owner back. And it will cost you money to keep the animal for a while. You know, they say when you find it, you keep it, and the one that lost is a fool.
Finders, keepers, losers, weepers.
Exactly, that is. I heard that one. And that's terrible.
Yes, sir.
That's not the case. Well, there are more, there are 74 teachings, and I don't know how much more I can go. But one thing that I would like that you understand about all these different teachings. In chapter, you have the controversy that nobody wants to talk, you know? You're going to talk about, first of all, women need to be respected. Women cannot be violated. You know that this is something that today is very popular now, that they are the women's slave and the women's this and this. You are saying, you know, we, the power of the woman, whatever. But it's not about the power of the woman. It's about what is right and what is just. Women and men are co-equals. That's how the Creator made us. He didn't make the man superior than the woman. Totally the contrary. If there is superiority, it will be the woman. If we can look at it from that perspective, when we say that the Creator was doing His creation, was improving the creation to the maximum. And what was the last thing that He created? Was no man, was a woman. And the woman is the only one that can procreate, can bring life. Still today I have not seen any men who can carry a baby. then there is something special about the woman. And we as men, we have the responsibility to protect it and to respect it. Not because they are inferior, but because they are special. And it is a perspective that the Creator is giving to us. Then, to be sure that you have the right relationship, and also in chapter 24, you know, talks about I am looking for the place about mixed clothing. What I am looking for this? It's because today we have arrived to certain situations in which now doesn't matter any difference between male and female. And that's not what the Creator had made. There is a difference between male and female. To be co-equal doesn't mean that we're identical. And to be co-equal doesn't mean that the one is superior than the other, but what it means is that we are not the same. And there is a differentiation of roles, and there is a differentiation of things that each one needs to do. When we forget that, we create a chaos. You know, it's very interesting. In the Hebrew word, kileim, that means mixture of different species. You know, the root word, or the beginning of the word kileim, is the word kele. And the word kele means prison. When you mix everything, you create everything. I don't have a word in English, but I want to. Huh? I love my word. Menjunje. That you create a mess. Lagan. And when you create a menjunje, nobody can take you out of that. You know, I like these things clear. You're this and you're that. And when you mix it, or when you don't have clarity, there is confusion. In this parasha, again, what we are trying to see what Moshe Rabbeinu is trying to tell us, the principle of the Creator, the Borei Olam, is that we need to have only one face. We need to be who we are, inside and out, and to try to look for what is right and be against what is wrong. We need to be the defenders of those who cannot defend themselves. And again, I want to repeat, and this was one of the favorite verses in my father. Blessed be his name and his memory. In Mishlei, Proverbs 31, verses 8 and 9. May your on behalf of, in other words, I'm going to paraphrase this portion. You have the obligation, you have the responsibility to defend those ones who are lesser or who are more vulnerable or those ones who cannot defend themselves. Here you, the word of the dumb, the one that cannot speak. You need to speak for the one that cannot speak. You need to you need to you need to talk for those ones that cannot talk for themselves. You need to defend those ones that they are not wealthy enough to find their own defense, and they defend themselves. You need to help those to defend themselves. You know, we wanted to know the true matter, and I spoke to you last week too about the same area. To me, it's very sad that justice is done according to how much money do you have, not according to how right you are. If you are a very wealthy person and you are a criminal of the criminals, doesn't matter. You pay. But if you are innocent, but if you are poor and you cannot pay for a lawyer, you go to jail. And that is exactly what I hear saying. And all of us as a community, we have a responsibility for each other, but also we have a responsibility outside ourselves. There are many things that we can talk and we can say. But the truth of the matter is that to me it's annoying to hear what I hear all over the world. I hear people, even here in this country and in Europe, the hate that they have against Israel. And there are very, very few people or organizations or groups that will speak in favor of Israel or to make it right. Because it's very easy to point your finger and to accuse those ones that you think that they are superior. And they say that they're defending the one that they cannot speak for themselves. You know, it's very interesting. Only to give you a picture. Right now what is happening in Gaza. Israel has been condemned by the United Nations so many times that you cannot even count it anymore. It's almost a laughing stock how many times Israelis, the only reason the Israelis condemn because they are trying to defend themselves. They do not condemn the terrorists. They don't condemn those evil people who put women and children as a shield, and when Israel defends themselves, and those women and children supposedly suffer the consequences of their self-defense, they call Israel as the evil one. Nobody mentions these evil people who are the leaders. Nobody tells you the truth about what is happening there, how these people are held hostage. Because the United Nations is a mockery of truth and justice. And this world is living under that mockery. And the right people, the righteous people are not talking. Yes, Israel, communist states. Yes, Israel does things that are not right. And because of that, he needs to be exposed to. Nobody has a blank paper to do whatever they want to do. Everybody needs to be responsible for the action that they do. But I don't blame the innocent. I'm trying to get out of the guilty part. Do you know that the only group that are are refugees for more than almost 60 years now, a little bit more, are the Palestinians. A group that some didn't exist in history. The Palestinians, these Palestinians that we're talking about, don't exist. It's only a name that they have got. Interestingly enough, the Jewish people were the first one to be called Palestinians in the modern time. The Jerusalem Post was the Palestinian Post. And suddenly, the Arab people that live in that area, Egyptians, Jordanians, from Syria and Libya and Lebanon, they became the Palestinians. Suddenly. Go back in your history, right now, go Google, before the 60s. The term Palestinian didn't exist. And we have accepted a lie as a truth. And nobody, even the historians, even the professors of the university, wouldn't dare to clarify that. They go to the United Nations and they bunch of lies. And the worst part, that most of the countries of the world are part of that. This elite, the European countries, are now shameful of them. What they're doing? Well, the parasha this week is telling us that we do not have the right to be only silent. And the way that we live in our home, we need to live outside. And when we need to defend those ones who do not, cannot defend themselves, we need to defend them. Prophet Zachariah Hanabi will say, the Lord Almighty said that we need to administer justice, show mercy, and compassion to one another. Zechariah 7:9. Blessings to all of you. Shabbat shalom.